All right, so we're going to render out a view sequence on this guy. And so if you take a look at my Rhino file, the way I do is I set up sort of blocking areas for where I want the camera and the target to be. So I'm going to set up a camera and a target here, a camera and a target here, and a camera and a target here, and render it out. And then I'll set one inside and render it out. And you can sort of blend between those two. You don't have to go into a straight sequence, right? You can sort of go in one short sequence and then jump to another place, right? Don't feel like you need to run a path through the whole thing. Make sure that you feel comfortable with, deciding where your transitions are going to be. So what I'm going to do is use these points to set up named views in Rhino that I'll use later. So I'm going to go to my set view, and I'm going to come over here to the place target and camera. So I'm going to right click on this guy, and I'm going to left click, and it's going to set that camera, and I'm going to save it. So in the named views, you can type in named views to get this out. I'll say this is V1, and then I'm just going to come in and I'll pan my view around here until I can get to my second view, which is this one up here, and do the same thing. So right click on this, 1, 2, and that'll be V2, so I'll save that. And then one more, which will be sort of this guy right here. So I'll just go and right click, and actually let's set the camera where it's looking up a little higher. I don't really want to look right there, so I'm just going to go to my layers here, and I'm going to turn off the roof. And I've got another little guy sticking up there, so I'm just going to save this one for later. So I'm going to render out those the first two, and then I'll save this one for the second shot, for the second rendering. So, but I'll go ahead and make a named view of it now. So I'll right click here, place a, right, let's see if I can get it to snap. Should be great. There it goes. And maybe to there. Yeah, let's do that one. So we'll do these in a series of 3 where you kind of come in and then look up at that window. I think that'll work really well. So let's save this guy. And V3. So basically we're kind of giving an approach and sort of looking at the building. So let's go to Enscape and go ahead and make a video sequence of this guy. So once you have these views set up, it's pretty easy to come into Enscape. So if I come to Enscape, I want to come in, and we've been over this before in setting up the video. A few things you want to do, under Enscape, under visual settings, you want to come in and check your capture settings here. I have it set to full HD, and we're compressing that. And then you want to go ahead and set up your keyframes to do this. So the first thing you want to do is go to your Enscape tab, go to your view manager, and you have your saved views there. So I'm going to start out at V1, right? So it takes me back to that view. You can adjust it here if you want to, if you wanted to maybe move over or, do something where you slightly adjust it. That's totally fine. Let me go ahead and turn on my roof again so it's there. And then we want to bring out the video editor and start keyframing. So 2 ways to bring out the video editor under Enscape capturing is toggle video editor on and off, or you can select K. I'm just going to hit K, and it's going to bring the video editor out, and I want to add a keyframe here, right? And then I just want to go back to Enscape, set my second view, right, and add another keyframe. And you're going to see it's going to change the time duration to 6 seconds. It's going to estimate how long it thinks you should take to get there. And so I'm just going to pull that back just to make the video a little faster. You'll have to adjust, how long you want this to be. And then I'm going to go to my next view, right? So I'll come back and go to V3, which is kind of looking right up at that guy. And I'll add another keyframe, and you'll see now I have 3, and I'm going to adjust that one maybe out to 8 or so, right? And now I have sort of my timeline set up. You can go in and adjust these keyframes if you want to, but once you've got that done, you can come back to the Enscape capturing, and if you want to save this sequence, you can come in here and save the video path to file. So I have a view sequence, and I'll just name this one 01 and click Save. So now I can go and reload all those keyframes and locations if I need to do that by going to the by going to Load Video Path from File. But at this point, I'm ready to go ahead and render this guy out. So I'll go to Create Video from Current Video Path, and I'll create that. And we'll just name this 01 Sequence MP4 and click Save. I'll just save over that one that's there. And it'll start rendering that video out, right? And you'll see it sort of start to move through that video. And once it's done with that and it's saved that guy out, what I'll do is I'll set up another view, or even maybe use the existing sun study view that we had before, and we can render that guy out. So I'll do another video sequence and go into my named views, and I'll just set the sun study view, whoops, not in Rhino, but in Enscape. Let's go ahead and set the sun study view current, right? So it brings us into this view, and maybe you want to try a few different things. If I go to layers here, I think I have some louvers. I could turn the louvers on and maybe turn off the beams, the roof beams. So if you want to try something different, you could come in and try something different. And then maybe we do a sun study here, right? So I'm just going to remove all these keyframes. I'm going to add a keyframe. I'm going to add another keyframe right on top of it. It's going to give me 2. I'm going to double click on these just like I did previously. And it's going to set me into the sun settings. And so I'll come in and, set this guy kind of early in the morning. Maybe we're getting a little shadow on there, and I'll hit apply. Oh, this is the second one. Sorry, I want to do this to the first one, so I'm going to back up to the first one and set the first one at sunset, right? And so let's go ahead and apply that. Well, let's get it into the right place where we had it before. So I'll apply that. Then I'll go to the second one, right? And when I get to the second one, I'm going to set a 4-second video. And then I'm going to scrub through the day, right, until the sun sets. So we get kind of maybe end on a little flare there. And I'll apply that. And now I can render that video out. So I'm going to come, if you want to, you can also, obviously, if I go to Enscape capturing, you could save the video path to file. I'm just going to go ahead and render this guy out. And I'll render that out as, let's just make it 02 sequence. And so what you would do with this is, in a video editor or compositor, you would take this and blend it, and put in a transition from this one between the first sequence and this one. So you're kind of looking up, and then you get up in that space, right? Now the other thing you could do is you could sort of change the composition of this video and make it more vertical, by changing the size of the Enscape capture window. So that's also a possibility. I'll just pause this while it... Alright, so here's the 2 videos that we made. Here's the first one. So it comes in and does this guy, right? Comes in and kind of stops and pauses right there. And then the next one is the sun study. So in a video compositor, you could come in and put those 2 sequences together. I think I would lengthen the sun study a little bit. It's a little quick, but that's it. All right.